It's because I'm pregnant and there's no bottom bunks.
I'm just homeless. I don't really have any family.
Welcome back to Globe Jaunter. Today, we're addressing the critical issue of homelessness in America's largest cities, with a focus on the marginalization of women, particularly single mothers and those fleeing dangerous situations. From Los Angeles to New York, thousands of women lack safe shelter, and their stories are often overlooked amidst discussions about rising housing costs and overcrowded shelters. In this video, we'll shine a light on these cities, assess current support efforts, and discuss changes needed to improve the situation. Join me as we delve into the challenges they face and the shortcomings of the system. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is enough being done to protect vulnerable women in these cities? Share in the comments below. Number 10. San Francisco. San Francisco, a tech hub known for innovation and wealth, faces a growing homelessness crisis, particularly affecting women. The skyrocketing cost of living, with an average rent of $3,750 per month, makes housing unaffordable for many, especially those with minimum wage jobs. Since 2020, the tech industry has driven housing prices up, leading to a 133% increase in the homeless population. Most are unsheltered, living on the streets. Women face unique challenges. They account for about 30% of the homeless population, and 75% reported experiencing physical or emotional violence while living on the streets. Shelters are often overcrowded and unsafe. The rising number of minority women affected by homelessness is troubling. Black women, despite making up a small portion of the city's population, make up 133% of the homeless population. Many are fleeing unsafe environments, but lack the resources to support them. In 2024, San Francisco allocated $672 million to combat homelessness, but critics argue it's insufficient. Aid distribution has been ineffective, leaving vulnerable populations, especially women, unhelped. This isn't limited to San Francisco, but reflects the broader homelessness crisis in America. Solutions like affordable housing and better mental health services exist, but require immediate implementation and focus. Behind each statistic are real people, many women who deserve dignity, safety, and a home. Number 9. Sacramento. Sacramento, ranked 9th among U.S. cities with the largest homeless populations, currently has about 9,281 people without permanent housing. While it's more affordable than Los Angeles or San Francisco, Sacramento faces a severe housing shortage that exacerbates homelessness. The lack of affordable housing, despite a lower cost of living, has led to a rising number of homeless people. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is around $1,750 a month, making it difficult for many working families, especially those with low incomes, to find affordable housing. Women, particularly those already marginalized, are disproportionately affected by homelessness in Sacramento. They often face limited access to safe shelters and increased risks of harm while living on the streets. Many single mothers or fleeing unsafe environments are among the homeless population in Sacramento. Securing a roof is just one aspect of their struggle. They also prioritize protecting themselves and their children from dangerous situations. Sacramento's severe shelter shortage further complicates the problem. Despite efforts to increase temporary shelters, the demand for beds remains unmet. Hundreds of people, including many women, are on nightly waiting lists for shelters. Finding a safe place to sleep is a daily challenge for these individuals. Sacramento's homelessness crisis underscores that affordability alone isn't enough. Even in cities with lower costs of living, a housing shortage hinders progress. Despite investments in homelessness services, permanent affordable housing is crucial to persist. This issue reflects broader challenges in the U.S. regarding safe and affordable housing. Homelessness disproportionately affects women, often lacking support. Behind every statistic is a person deserving dignity, safety, and a stable home. Number 8. Phoenix. Phoenix, the 8th largest U.S. city, faces a double homelessness crisis: economic inequality and severe housing shortages. As of September 2024, around 9,642 people are homeless. Housing costs have skyrocketed, making it impossible for low-income families to stay afloat. The surge in property values and rents, with an average one-bedroom rent of $1,650 per month, has exacerbated the problem. Phoenix's rapid growth has outpaced housing supply. The opioid crisis, with over 2,000 overdose deaths, further worsens homelessness. Addiction hinders those struggling to find stable housing, and the overwhelmed healthcare system lacks resources to assist everyone. We must prioritize helping women experiencing homelessness, especially single mothers. They face not only shelter, but also safety risks. Providing support and resources is crucial for their recovery. Number 7. Oakland. Oakland's homelessness crisis, with nearly 10,000 unsheltered people, is primarily driven by rising housing costs. Despite its diversity, the housing market has become unaffordable for many. The median home price exceeds $800,000, and the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is around $2,400 monthly, making Oakland one of the nation's most expensive housing markets for low-income residents. These costs force many into homelessness. Oakland's housing crisis is just one aspect of its stark situation. The visible social divide between affluent neighborhoods and areas like East Oakland highlights growing inequality. The American dream feels unattainable for many. What's concerning is that this crisis disproportionately affects women. Many homeless women in Oakland are single mothers or fleeing unsafe environments. They face risks of violence, instability, and lack of access to vital services. Finding a safe and secure place is not just about finding a roof over their heads, it's about their children's well-being. Oakland's local government has been working to address this issue, launching housing initiatives and expanding emergency shelters. However, there's a shortfall of at least 15,000 affordable housing units needed to meet demand. Without long-term investment, the situation will worsen. The homelessness crisis reflects broader economic trends: rising inequality, lack of affordable housing, and growing wealth disparity. Behind each statistic is a real person, many women who deserve safety, dignity, and a chance at a stable life. Number 6. San Jose. San Jose, the heart of Silicon Valley, ranks 6th among U.S. cities with the highest homeless populations, with around 9,903 people experiencing homelessness as of September 2024. Despite its wealth, the city faces a significant homelessness challenge due to the high cost of housing. The median home price is around $1.3 million, making it one of the least affordable cities in the United States. Even moderate-income families struggle to afford a home, and renters face exorbitant one-bedroom apartment rents of $3,000 per month. This has pushed many, including essential workers, into homelessness. The crisis highlights the growing wealth gap, with tech executives living in multi-million-dollar homes while thousands of residents are homeless or at risk. Homeless women, especially single mothers, are severely affected, often burdened with childcare, and intensifying their shelter search. The lack of affordable housing exacerbates this desperate situation. Women experiencing homelessness in San Jose face precarious living, from cars to temporary shelters, impacting their well-being and hindering employment, childcare, and family support. Despite allocating over $400 million towards housing initiatives, a shortage of over 25,000 affordable housing units remains. Thousands await access to low-income housing, and demand continues to rise. San Jose's homelessness reflects a broader trend in expensive cities where the cost of living exceeds wages, disproportionately affecting essential workers. Behind the statistics are real people, many women, facing enormous challenges and deserving a home and stability. Number 5. Denver. With about 10,054 people experiencing homelessness as of September 2024, Denver's housing crisis significantly contributes to this issue. A shortfall of nearly 70,000 housing units makes affordable homes difficult to find. Denver's housing market expands but doesn't meet demand. Rental costs and home prices have risen rapidly. The average one-bedroom apartment rent is about $2,100 per month, and it's increasing for low and moderate-income residents. The median home price exceeds $570,000, making homeownership impossible for many families. This shortage has worsened homelessness. Many people who could have stayed in their homes are now pushed out due to rising costs. The crisis has left individuals and families struggling to find stable shelter. Increasing costs and stagnant wages mean more people are becoming homeless. Homeless encampments and people living in cars or temporary shelters are visible effects. While the wealthy move into luxury developments, many others are left behind in unstable situations. The impact on women, especially single mothers fleeing unsafe situations, is devastating. Finding housing without stability makes individuals vulnerable to violence and hinders employment and family care. Denver invested millions in affordable housing, but the gap remains. As of 2024, Denver needs at least 70,000 more units. Long-term investment and strategic planning are needed to address this crisis, which reflects broader trends in U.S. cities with rising housing costs and inequality. These numbers represent real people who deserve dignity, security, and a safe home. Number 4. San Diego. San Diego, ranked 4th among U.S. cities with the largest homeless populations, has about 10,264 people without permanent housing as of September 2024. The primary cause is the city's high living costs, which have forced many residents to the streets. The cost of living in San Diego has outpaced wage growth, making housing unaffordable for many, including service workers, teachers, and those on fixed incomes. The median home price is around $900,000, and the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment exceeds $2,500 monthly. While the high cost is a significant factor, the city's approach to managing homelessness exacerbates the problem. Homeless residents are often displaced from encampments due to sweeps and evictions, which don't address the underlying causes. Instead of providing long-term solutions, residents are forced to relocate, perpetuating the cycle of instability. Women, especially single mothers, are among the most vulnerable. Without stable housing, they face increased risks of violence, exploitation, and health problems. Many live in temporary shelters or cars, trying to maintain their families while grappling with the constant threat of eviction. These women are not merely seeking shelter, they are desperately searching for safety and stability. Despite San Diego's efforts, the lack of affordable housing and support services continues to leave many vulnerable. San Diego, despite investing millions in affordable housing, faces a housing shortage. As of 2024, the city needs at least 15,000 more affordable units annually. This crisis reflects broader systemic issues like rising housing costs and inadequate support for vulnerable populations. If you believe affordable housing is a basic human right, comment below. Number 3. Seattle. Seattle, ranking 3rd in the U.S. for homelessness with 14,444 people without stable housing, contrasts its thriving tech economy with the growing homelessness crisis. This inequality is evident. Seattle's homelessness crisis is fueled by factors like the soaring cost of living, driven by the tech boom. Housing is unaffordable, with an average rent of $2,600 per month and a median home price of $875,000. These prices leave many vulnerable. criticism has arisen over the city's public response, including sweeps that displace homeless individuals without long-term solutions. Lastly, the lack of mental health and addiction support complicates the issue. As of 2024, about 35% of homeless individuals in Seattle struggle with these issues. Seattle's homeless population faces significant challenges, especially mental health and substance abuse. Despite treatment, long wait lists and resource limitations trap many in a cycle of homelessness. Women, especially single mothers and abuse survivors, lack affordable housing and face risks of violence and exploitation. Seattle has allocated over $200 million to homelessness services and affordable housing, but the shortage of affordable units remains substantial. By 2024, Seattle needs an additional 35,000 units. Aggressive long-term strategies are crucial to combat the rising numbers. Seattle's homelessness crisis mirrors a larger national issue: economic growth without equitable housing. Number 2. Los Angeles. Los Angeles, the second most populous city in the U.S., has a severe homelessness crisis, with 71,312 people experiencing homelessness as of September 2024. Despite its wealth and fame, the city's divide between the rich and poor is starkly evident in areas like Skid Row, where homelessness is a stark contrast to luxury. The escalating cost of living is a key driver of this crisis. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $2,800 per month, while the median home price is around $900,000. Even full-time employment is insufficient to cover basic housing costs, pushing many onto the streets. Crime also complicates the problem. Many homeless individuals live in dangerous environments, especially in Skid Row, where resources are scarce and safety is a constant concern. The streets are not only uncomfortable, but also unsafe, making stability difficult to achieve. Despite billions of dollars in investments, the homelessness crisis continues to grow. Los Angeles, having invested billions in addressing homelessness, still faces a shortage of over 500,000 affordable housing units. Despite local efforts, the homeless population continues to grow, especially for women. Homeless women in LA face increased risks of violence and exploitation due to the lack of safety and security a home provides. They often seek shelter in temporary locations, constantly moving to avoid dangerous areas. The Los Angeles homelessness crisis reflects broader systemic issues like rising living costs, inadequate support systems, and a housing market favoring the wealthy. These factors contribute to the growing emergency. Number 1. New York City. New York City, with over 88,000 homeless people as of September 2024, faces a severe homelessness crisis despite its global financial reputation. The influx of nearly 100,000 migrants has strained the shelter system, exacerbated by the high cost of living, including $4,000 average one-bedroom rents and over $1 million median home prices. Stagnant wages leave many workers without housing and contribute to homelessness. The overwhelmed shelter system now provides insufficient beds and resources, forcing many to sleep on the streets, in subway stations, or in makeshift camps. Women face increased vulnerability due to the lack of safe spaces. Despite billions in investments, the crisis persists. New York City's shelter system, designed for 75,000, is overwhelmed by the homeless population. This highlights social and economic inequalities. Even in a city of billionaires, the gap between the wealthy and the poor widens, with homelessness a visible manifestation. Women are particularly vulnerable, facing homelessness and associated risks. This problem reflects systemic issues affecting many U.S. cities: rising housing costs, inadequate social safety nets, and the growing wealth gap. This video reveals the heartbreaking realities of women experiencing homelessness in America. Despite substantial investments in solving this crisis, many still lack safe and affordable housing. Are we missing the mark? What innovative solutions exist? Join our conversation. Your insights could catalyze change. Engage, like, and share to amplify the message. Our stories continue in the next channel episodes. Tune in to broaden your understanding and impact, and let's build a community committed to making a difference. Your next stop could ignite a revolution. Don't miss it.